Emma's going to show us some reflections on some of the posters. So many of you have submitted work to be shared, and we're going to go through some of that. And all the posters are on a rotating slideshow, which we will be showing over lunch in the mezzanine, and hopefully in the second break as well. Do you want this?
Yeah, I'll try and multitask. I've got my piece of paper so I don't forget stuff and my clicker. So let's see how that goes. I'll hopefully not talk into the clicker. So I know it's lunchtime, but I did just want to spend a few minutes signposting to the wonderful work that we've had submitted from across the country, really. And it's sort of grouped into different themes, I guess. Let's just start. Anyone who's submitted a poster who's here, pop your hand up so people know. Okay. And then leave your hand up if you've submitted a poster around setting up a positive reporting system. So it's actually from everywhere around the country. So from Scotland, a couple from Glasgow. Maybe we should just move to Glasgow, hey? Aberdeen, a team from Wales, Oxford, Belfast. So there were people doing great work about setting up positive reporting systems, and they're shared in the posters. A few bits to pick out. There's a poster from Wales, I think, where they really had a focus on communication, and we all love a QR code now, so they got some coasters printed with QR codes on, which linked to the positive reporting form, and then they shared their work using a music analogy with they call their system Greatix, and then they had Greatix hits compilations, and I think there was a Queen one, and maybe an Oasis one, and the play on words around that. So I think it stems from the kind of play on words that is Greatix, so that was great. There are some groups of people who've shared the sort of themes that come through in their reports. We started to analyse the themes. And in Milton Keynes, they've started using something called business intelligence, and I need to catch up with that team just to find out what that means in terms of pulling out keywords from reports. So their example is around mentorship. So they've picked out all the reports, so positive examples of mentorship, so that they can go and talk to those people, find out more about what makes good mentorship. And I think that is kind of a way that we can share the intelligence around reports more. And then there was a lovely poster around the impact of receiving a report, so starting to analyse the impact on staff of receiving a report and the kind of positive impact it has. And you sort of know it when you feel it, but it was lovely to see that described. I can't look at my notes and click and hold so we're just going to go with it. So we've got a small group of posters using the LFE QI methodology, which was started as part of the PRAISE project. So these are projects in different areas, one on blood culture documentation, there's one on weighing patients on ITU, there's one on CD book compliance, which sounds, maybe it's hard to kind of positively reinforce that, but actually showed amazing impact on outcomes by just reminding people that they've done the right thing, and that really does make a difference. And they've all showed increases in positive outcomes. So take a look at those. And Alison, pop your hand up. I can see you in the middle. So Alison is our guru of LFEQI. So if you want any kind of ideas, want to speak to her, then she is with us. So then the next section is around people who've used appreciative inquiry in projects. So I use appreciative inquiry to run our kind of exit interviews and actually entrance interviews, try and frame the questions. Like, we love a good question. I wrote down loads of questions from that first session that I could be asking with my teams. And I think that's what appreciative inquiry is, isn't it? It's acknowledging the power of the right question and the impact that has, and even just asking the right question leads to a positive outcome. So there are groups who've used AI tools, so the visual inquiry tools, the emotional touch points, to kind of guide conversations in a new way. So to gain feedback from medical students, to get insights from parents on a neonatal intensive unit. And it's just opened up the conversation. Like, there's so much power in storytelling. We know that. That's what we're hearing today, isn't it? But those are some posters examples of that. There is Amanda, who I saw earlier. Sorry, Amanda, she's going like this. Why is she mentioning me? Who, with Suzette, has delivered an asset-based curriculum. So started teaching junior doctors about appreciative inquiry and how they can use it. We have such a deficit-based approach to training, and, you know, what haven't you done? What do you still need to do? But actually teaching them about appreciative inquiry and how they can use that. So Amanda's sharing that work with us. And then the PRAISE project had a load of appreciative inquiry interviews. So the thematic analysis of those interviews is on a poster there. Our last but one section is around workplace culture. And I know that my friend and colleague Rupa is online. So they've done some work at James Cook South Tees where they did a civility survey. And they picked up some positive and negative comments, and they've shared a kind of lovely infographic, colour-coded, rainbow-coloured infographic. We love a good rainbow, on their poster. And what they're doing is an education programme around human factors, around civility, around psychological safety. So they've shared some examples of their programme. The key learning point from me was that they engaged the board early and they got kind of senior buy-in to the importance of this to kind of help roll this out. No one loves mandatory training, do they? But actually, that's probably one of the things that we do need. Kind of, it's kind of worth having training in. And actually, in Australia, I think they have a kind of behaviour mandatory training module for all kind of surgeons, just to kind of remind people around the importance of this. And then finally, we've got some posters on the theme of kind of support and well-being and some examples of reflective practice, some education programs. There's one around, going back, I was just going to mention the research project. A group from Surrey has done a literature review on the drivers for unprofessional behaviours, and their work is available. There's a link to it on the poster, but it's an amazing review, and they've got some really useful resources online. So do check out that poster. That's kind of worth. So come and speak to this gentleman here if you're interested in that over lunch. So the last section was on wellbeing, close to my heart, an example of monthly wellbeing emails and the kind of impact that they had, sharing examples of reflective practice, a supportive education programme around attending the coroner's court, something that we all would find difficult, and kind of the impact that that's made. A lovely idea for kind of a group interaction. So if you're doing a sort of group team building day, how you can encourage people to mix a bit more rather than just kind of stay with their friends. So that's an example. And then the last poster feels topical because it's lunchtime, is about the importance of baking and sharing cake. And in some ways it sounds a little thing, but actually it's a way of bringing people together and forming connections. And actually it's not just cake, although any cake is good in my mind. It's about bringing people together, sharing important moments in people's lives, connecting as a team. They share their approach to that. So that was a little whistle-stop tour to orientate you. I will now run out and make sure the poster is playing online.